How are we getting on, folks? Look at what a great day we had. First three races, first three winners. January Jets drifted out to 8 to 11, if I'm not mistaken. Bridge Native, look at this horse is just unbelievable. But again, it was another drifter out to 7 to 1, and the Storyteller was a massive drifter from 4 to 7 out to 6 to 5. So look at, if you had a bet today, I'm really hoping that you picked them outright. Look at the second half of the day, it didn't really go to plan. It just, I suppose, we're a bit unlucky after being steeped in luck at the start of the day. But look at, we're going to brush today off to the side now, and we're going to focus on tomorrow. I've had a look through the Galway card. Doesn't look to be, I suppose, too great for selecting tips. Obviously, as you all know, I'm more of a National Hunt man. So I'd like to, I suppose, stick to National Hunt more so than anything else. But I do have one horse for Galway tomorrow that I definitely think is well worth getting on at this price. But I've done a full race card for Punchestown tomorrow. Look at it looks to be a bit of a favourite stay. There's not really any great value knocking around, in my personal opinion. I think an awful lot of favourites are going to go on and prove to be just that. And yeah, look, it wouldn't be the best, I suppose, day for betting more so than anything else. But look at, if you pick them out well enough, and I suppose if you match them up to the best they can, sometimes they prove to be great doubles or trebles or anything like that. But look at, we're going to kick on anyway. First race going off at 1:20. Estepona Sun, currently trading around 3 to 1. This is coming from the Noel Kelly yard up the north, if I'm not mistaken, is up in Derry. But it was a very, very nice flat horse for Ger Lyons before being snapped up in the claiming race. Obviously, the last race it ran, it was 1 to 4, 2 to 9 on. But it ran very, very well. And look at, Punchestown is more of a galloping track. It suits an awful lot of these flat horses coming in. The first race, look at, it's flat horses going over jumps. It's not really ideal to be backing, but if you're looking at I suppose, a value bet, Estepona Sun, it really looks to be, I suppose, the best value you can get. And I'm afraid it's only 3 to 1, but look at, that's the way the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. I definitely think it's going to be there in the finish. It looks like it's going to be well schooled. Obviously, Noel Kelly's in fantastic form of late. And yeah, it looks to be one of the nicer horses at, I suppose, a little bit of a better price. I wouldn't class it as a big price or anything like that, but look at it, it's a nice price. If you have a tenner on and wins, you get 40 back. So look at that, you have to look at it that way as well. Now 1:55, we're going to go with Rula Bula. Currently trading around 4 to 5, or in some cases I think you can find even money. Look at, it was impressive the last time it ran. Obviously, look at, it was a bit frustrating beforehand, but it looks to be, I suppose, like what I suppose Willie Mullins and the team are doing in Closutton. It seems to have clicked with this Rula Bula. Obviously, they're not going to waste any time. They're just going to go straight into hurdling, and like most of Willie's, I suppose, stock, the first time they go over hurdles, they normally always win. So look at 4 to 5. I know it's a very short price. Like I said before, I hate tipping up short price horses, but in reality, I suppose if you're looking, say, down the line, the most that we're aiming for, I suppose, is to, I suppose, tip up as many winners as we possibly can in the day. And look at Rula Bula at 4 to 5. It's very hard to see past it. Now 2:30, another favourite here. We're going to go with Duke Cup, currently trading at even money. I'm sort of tied between this one and Charcor. It's very, very hard to split the two of them on a going day with Everton in both of their, I suppose, favour. You'd have to pick Charcor. But the best thing about this is there's an awful lot of rain today. Charcor doesn't like the rain. We've seen that plenty of times before. Duke Cup obviously relishes it. Ted Walsh is a local trainer. Patrick Mullins, if I'm not mistaken, is taking up the ride today. So look at, obviously they're going to want to get a win at their local track. Obviously, I know trainers do say that wherever they can get a win is, I suppose, special to them. But I suppose when you dig down a little deeper, it's always nice to get a win at home. And yeah, look, it looks to be a nice, I suppose, a nice opportunity for this Duke Cup. It was very disappointing the last time out, but like, just the reality is that the heart or the ground just went against the horse. I think it's going to be a very close one. It's a very hard one to call, but it does have a favourites chance. With everything, I suppose, taken into consideration with the ground and everything else like that, if I'm not mistaken, it's either soft or yielding to soft. Um, I know that the two of them are between Galway and Punchestown. I was looking at the tracks, and one of them is either yielding to soft or completely soft altogether. But look, that's going to go into, regardless what way you look at it, that's going to be in Duke Cup's favour, and I definitely think, look at it has a favourite chance tomorrow. And even money, look at, it's not a big price, but it's not a short price either. Now moving on to the nap of the day, another favourite, another one from Willie Mullins. We're going to go to Robina, currently trading around 5-4. Look at this horse, looks to be very, very special. It's a mare that I suppose looks to be going places, but the problem there is it's, I suppose, living in the shadows of the syndicate star. She wears it well, who is the leading fancy for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle in Cheltenham this year coming. But yeah, look at, it's a very pacey sort of a horse. It'll absolutely appreciate every single yard of this Punchestown track tomorrow. Obviously, like I said, it's a very pacey horse. It bet the course average in Sligo by 7 seconds, which is massive. Sligo is a very trappy enough track, and it's very, I suppose, often turns out to be very hard for horses to go well in it. But Robina absolutely relished it, and it looks to be a very, very hardy mare. I'm trying to think who goes riding it. Oh, David Mullins goes riding it there tomorrow. David's obviously a great jockey as well, but look at, obviously, well, Paul Townend, I don't know, is he injured or what, but he hasn't been riding, I suppose, lately for the last week or two anyway. But I suppose, look at it, it's just, it's a little bit of a concern that Paul isn't riding. Like, you obviously, with the Willie Mullins yard, you always want to see Paul Townend riding it, or a jockey that's always, I suppose, pushing for the champion jockey spot. Now, I know that sounds very harsh on David Mullins, but look, it's just, I suppose, a slight, I suppose, inkling in the mind. Will it be able to, I suppose, get over the line? But look at, if it's anything like she wears it well, I definitely think Robina is going to absolutely hose up in this again. And look at, if it shows up in the form that it did in Sligo that day, really and truly, it should hose up. It should absolutely relish the ground. It should relish the track. It should love going over jumps. I didn't hear anything about it, but yeah, James Fenton is a man that knows how to pick out horses, and he's after picking out two very, very special mares in this one. Now, 3:40, we're going on to the first each way horse of the day. We're going to go with Humanist, currently trading around 10-1. Obviously, look at, when it's at an each way price, I always tip up each way just to be safe. It made a decent start to this year. Obviously, last year it was second to Zoffley in Ballinrobe, and it was after taking a year off. Since then, I suppose it returned to the track after a year off, and it finished third, 3 lengths behind Wonder Leish for the Charles Burns yard. Obviously, as you all know, Wonder Leish is possibly one of the best horses in Charles Burns yard. But look at, it's hard to know what way this horse is going to turn up. I obviously, look at it, with gradual improvement, it should really, I suppose, come up and improve enough to go close and possibly even win. But it's hard to know as well at the same time whether it will, I suppose, go and do that on the given day. But look at it's. I think it is a fairly solid shout for an each way bet. Obviously, you're trying to pick out winners and everything else like that, but if you can get a 10-1 into a placing spot, it's always a good sign. And I definitely think this humanist 10-1 is definitely going to go into an each way spot. If not, I suppose put in a bit of a shock and go on and win it. Now 4-15, we're going to go with Jacina or Jacina, whatever way you like to call it. Currently trading around 12-1. Obviously, when it's 12-1, it's an each way bet. But look, it's hard to know really what way this is going to go. It's a full sister to this Gelona, who obviously, as we tipped up in Clonmel on Thursday, it went on to win its maiden hurdle. It's Dam is a sister to Jet, or a half sister, should I say. And when it's out of Milan, that would mean that this Jacina, or whatever way you like to call it, would be a half sister to Jeski, who, as you all know from the Clonmel tips, is a former champion hurdle winner. Obviously, look at it, it's the best form in the book, really and truly. If it's any way close to this potential, and look at, don't forget, this Gelona was a fairly nice bumper horse when the day was right as well. So look at it, it's on the drift. Barry O'Neill takes the ride. Barry O'Neill is obviously one of the best amateurs in the game at the minute. It's always, I suppose, tied up between himself, Patrick Mullins and Jamie Codd. But look, I definitely think that this is going to run a fairly decent race. Look, as I said, it's hard to know. It's first time out. It's just an unknown, I suppose. What way did I put it? Unknown potential for the horse here today. And look, at 12-1, you could be backing worse horses, I tell you that. Now 450, the next best of the day for Punchestown, we're going to go with Wear a Pink Ribbon. This horse trades at around 7-4, or I'm sure if you shop around you can find 2-1 in some places. Look at, I don't really know what to make of the last run. Turning in, it looked like it was going to be well bet and pull up. And Patrick Mullins just got the horse going, and it just got going a little bit too late, in my opinion. Absolutely flew home. It came running like a steam train. When you look at that, it's obviously going to get more experience the more times it runs, and it should mature to be a fairly nice horse, and it should, I suppose, mature enough to go on and win a bumper like this of this caliber. Whether it's, I suppose, trustworthy or not, I don't know. Look, it's hard to tell. It was well fancy that day to go on and do the business. It didn't, but it definitely showed some very, very big signs of improvement and potential for races to come. I think the day might have come for it to go and win the race. I definitely think, look at there. It's hard to really know what way these newcomers or these pointing horses are going to go in these bumpers. Obviously, look at. I don't really know. Is there anything that's a newcomer that has any sort of potential really at the end of the day? I know there's a pointing horse here for, if I'm not mistaken, Mouse Morris. That was first in its only start over Point to Points. That could well be very, very interesting, and it could well turn out to be a very, very nice horse. But I think definitely in time to come, and hopefully tomorrow, that this Wear a Pink Ribbon will be wearing a gold one now tomorrow. Now, like I said, I have one horse for Galway tomorrow. Nothing else really, I suppose, stands out to me as a sure thing or anything like that. It's flat racing in bad ground, and it looks to be going to be a fairly trappy affair. If I was doing Galway at all, I'd avoid it completely, to be quite honest with you. But Princess Zoe in the 6:35 has to be my nap of the day for Galway. It absolutely loves the course, as you all know. Looking at the 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 Galway Festival there, it won twice in the week. It won a very nice race in the ladies' derby, if I'm not mistaken, in the Curragh. I think it was a couple of weeks beforehand or a month beforehand or something in or along them lines. It's in the form of his life. It's obviously going to go on to Cheltenham, say next year, for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. Obviously, look at I'm sort of tied between Princess Zoe and She Wears It Well, but at the minute I'm in the She Wears It Well camp. But I definitely think Princess Zoe, she's trading at 9-2. I cannot understand why. She Look at Joey Sheridan is on board. Joey Sheridan is possibly one of the best young, I suppose, up and coming superstars in the racing game to date. Obviously, look at the horse has proven herself in soft ground and all sorts of ground and everything else like that. So ground won't be an issue tomorrow. Joey Sheridan is back. Tom Mullins is going to get this horse really ready to go for Cheltenham, and I think this horse is going to hose up. But look, that's all I have for Galway and Punchestown tomorrow. If you're going to be having a bet, I wish you the very best of luck. Obviously, look at with Punchestown being an awful lot of favourites selected, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going in too hard. But look at if you're going to have a bet, make sure to, I suppose, bet what you can afford. And I suppose I don't really know what else to say about that really. But look at, I'm going to leave a link to the World of Sport website in the description below, like I always do. I'm going to be doing an article now about, say, Punchestown, and possibly will be adding Princess Zoe in tomorrow. If you're not into, I suppose, looking at the video and listening to me talking nonsense for, 17 minutes, I suggest you sign up to the World of Sport and go on to read what I think. But look at, that's it for me. Make sure to like, share and subscribe as always. And I'm going to, I suppose, talk to you later. Thanks very much.